G'day, welcome to the Nerdy Dad channel and the Nerdy Dad review of the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 7, In the Name of Honor. Wow. There's a lot to digest in this chapter, but to do so we need to spoil the episode. So, that being the case, this is your spoiler warning. Well, they managed to tie it all together in what was definitely the most action-packed episode of the season. In the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett, Rodriguez showed us the street war we all knew was coming. It happened, and it was awesome. But that's just it. It felt like it just, boom, kind of happened. Let's get this out of the way. My greatest lament for the series is that I wish we'd spent some more time with Boba Fett in the current timeline, in the Syndicate storyline, before this week's culmination of the story. Whether that meant taking another episode or two, or whether time could have been pinched from the flashbacks, or Din's story, or Luke and Grogu's story, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I felt like the flashbacks and Din's episode were the strongest parts of the series, but I felt like the Crime Syndicate story could definitely have used some fleshing out. I'm also still not sure what I think of the mods. Aesthetically and personality-wise, they stick out like a sore thumb to me, and not in a good way. I like the idea of a street gang working with Boba, but this bunch just didn't grow on me. Now, this is going to sound contradictory, but I think we should have spent some more time with the mods. I know it's Star Wars, and Boba Fett himself for over 30 years was the epitome of tip-of-the-iceberg storytelling. But because the mods didn't grab me, I felt that if we'd spent some more time developing them, or at least developing their relationship with Boba and Fennec, maybe they would have grown on me just a little bit. Possibly. Possibly not. If we had some more time with Boba in the main timeline, that relationship with the mods could have been developed naturally. Look, back to the episode itself, and Chapter 7 opens in the burnt-out shell of the Sanctuary. And this is one scene where fleshing out the mods would have helped. The mods chose this moment to defy their boss's orders, to plant their flag and state that they wanted to protect the people of the city. And we have no clue as to why Boba chose to listen to them. Everything that we've been told is that they are young and inexperienced, and let's face it, if they did want to protect civilians, deciding to make their final stand in the city rather than the fortress was a bad idea. The war is now in the streets where civilians can be shot. And other than the Sanctuary, we haven't been shown any other location in the city that the Pikes would target that would need their protection. So, I don't know. But then we get into the rest of the story and it just does not stop for the remaining 50 minutes. Was most of what happens predictable? Yes. Was it still enjoyable? Also yes. Did I love the kick-ass action? Hell yes. Cad Bane's introduction was suitably menacing. Understandably, the mayor is trying to stop his city from turning into a war zone. And the Pike leader reveals what we all kind of assumed, that the Pikes were the ones responsible for the deaths of the Tusken tribe. And with that, Bane now has a psychological weapon he can use against Fett. Let me say that I did not expect to see Luke's X-Wing. I didn't think we'd see the outcome of Grogu's choice until The Mandalorian Season 3. But then again, going into the Book of Boba Fett, I didn't think we'd see Grogu at all until The Mandalorian Season 3. But, you know, last week kind of happened. Peli got a little flustered thinking the Republic were under operation, only to get the shock of her life and a welcome surprise in the form of Grogu. But then, like half the fan base, she thinks it's a terrible name and she's not calling him that. Look, if we didn't know the other syndicates were going to turn on Fett, it was kind of spelled out when Shan pointed out that their forces were spread out and each group was in a different syndicate's territory. But at this point, can I also ask who thought it was a good idea to put the Wookiee undercover in Trandoshan territory? Doesn't make sense. At this point, Bane tried to goad Fett into trying something stupid, and at the same time the other cartels took out Fett's support. In the end, the negotiations were short. I almost feel sorry for the mayor's former Major Domo. And then it's on. I personally love watching Boba and Din fighting from the air with their jetpacks. The parts where they're in the air are probably my favourite parts of the episode. My favourite part might have been Shand in action, but you didn't really see much, just the blaster bolts. Such as when she saved the mods. The pair of not quite Mandalorians were absolutely mowing down the Pikes, but they weren't getting the upper hand. They were just about beaten until the Freetown militia rocked up. Look, Bane killing a beloved leader to make sure people don't get involved kind of feels like creating a martyr to me, and that's exactly where the story took it. And it then looked like the Freetown militia were getting the upper hand until the next twist. I had to look up whether we'd seen those droids before, and the answer is not since Legends. According to Wikipedia, the Scorpionic droids were, like so many things in the TV shows, based on unused concept art. In this case, concept art for Attack of the Clones. Peli manages to ride straight into the combat zone. Other than comedy value, I have no idea how she didn't hear what was going on. I mean, the town was getting blown apart by those droids. But in this otherwise very tense situation, Din gets as much of a heartfelt reunion with Grogu as he can, with very large droids shooting at them. A very brief moment in the middle of a moment. Before this scene, for some reason, I thought that R2 was going to bring Grogu to Din in the X-Wing, and that was going to be the Deus Ex Machina that removed the droid threat. Clearly I was wrong. What actually happens is in comes the Rancor. Look, all series we knew that we were going to see Fett riding the Rancor. But Fett's relationship with the Rancor is another place where I would have liked to live in the current timeline for a little bit longer, given that relationship time to breathe and develop on screen. But that said, hell yeah, that was awesome. Boba Fett riding a Rancor. Of course that's awesome. Of course I wanted to see the Rancor just wrecking shop on those Scorpionic droids. That is definitely what I came to see. And then we come back to Cad freaking Bane and his duel with Boba Fett. The duel did not go the same way as the duel from the unused Clone Wars reel, but Boba Fett isn't the same character he was then. He's an old man now. And, more importantly, given how the duel ends, he had that time with the Tuskens. In the conventional sense, Bane won the duel. He was quicker on the draw. He had Fett down. But, in the last seconds, when Bane was about to kill him, it was his Tusken weapon that allowed him to triumph. And I think that says a lot about where Boba is in the moment. Look, I don't have much to say about the Rancor when it was on the loose, other than Din had the right idea when he saw it as a scared animal and not something to be hunted. However, it took Grogu to make it take a nap. And then he took a nap too. Fennec Shan's next scene was brief but effective. Efficient, just like the character. She came, everyone in the room died. And with that, every effective threat to Boba was removed in one fell swoop. And that's that. Boba's rule on Tatooine is established. Also established is Din and Grogu's starting position for The Mandalorian Season 3. There is also a mid-credits scene showing Cobb Vanth is still alive. Just. And he is going to be modified, similar to Fennec Shand, in order for the Marshal of Freetown to appear in the next season. Or in another Disney Plus show. Who knows? In the end, the episode was a blast. And on the whole, I did enjoy the Book of Boba Fett, even if I wish we got a little more of the Boba Fett crime boss story. And I really felt that more of that crime boss story should have been there. This is the Nerdy Dad.